Ladies and gentlemen, this weekend we have arguably the most important heavyweight fight in the UFC history. This fight can very well determine the GOAT of the heavyweight division. I'll give you my thoughts on that, and so will UFC correspondent Blake Campbell. Pleasure to have you back, Blake, and to give us your expert opinion on all of these UFC fights.
Oh, you're being too kind. I appreciate it. Thanks for having me back.
Of course,
You
but
know, it's
before
not
we
like
get
it's my
things
job or anything.
exactly before we get things started, you might be able to see it on Blake, maybe not as well, but you can definitely see it on me. Merch, fourth along merch is here. This is an example of the gray premium shirt. Blake is wearing the basic navy shirt because he's a basic bitch, as we all know. But you just go website fourthalong.com. You click on apparel, take a Teespring. You'll find everything there. Here, I'll show this. I got my mask right here. It's actually really, really, really nice texture. Really good. High quality stuff. Also, if you buy the mask, $1 goes to feed hungry children. And that's not a lie. That is dead ass fact. So go support some hungry children and buy our mask. Pretty much, right?
Yeah, it also makes Ross feel a lot better about himself. So help him out too.
Please, because I
Help out
need
his
anything I could get right about now.
help out his confidence.
Give me something. But let's get into this. So, as of right now, at least according to UFC website, we don't have a breakup between early prelims, and main card, but it's all just one. And we're going to get rock and rolling into this one, into at least what seems like it would be the early prelims or the prelims. First one I want to talk about is Herbert Burns making his return to the octagon after like a month or so off. And then his last fight, he got a submission in a couple minutes into the fight. So he can look very good. Taking on Daniel Pineda. What do you think about this fight, Blake?
I'm interested to see how Herbert Burns looks. About a 2 month layoff. Daniel Pineda, I think didn't he just recently fight for the UFC, like in the Apex Center? I want to say he fought pretty recently for the UFC as well for like his first time.
Daniel Pineda, he did fight.
No, he
He
didn't.
hasn't fought in the UFC since 2014. And
Wow.
that
He's
ended
got quite the
in
record,
a
though.
loss. No, 26-13 is a very respectable record on him. It's been a while since he's making his return to the octagon in this fight, but also against a pretty good looking 11-2 Herbert Burns. Might
Yeah,
be
I mean, he's fought guys like Chaz Shelley twice. Got tapped out both times, though. He's fought Mike Brown, Diego Brandao. I mean, he's fought some dudes out there that are Jeremy Kennedy used to be in the UFC.
hmm
Pretty interesting. So, basically a journeyman, I'd say. Probably a guy that they could just get on last, short notice.
and the guy that
Does
Herbert Burns should beat.
should run through. He most likely should run through. But the guy does have experience, so Herbert Burns just has to not gas out. Basically, I don't even know too much about his cardio, but that would be the only thing I'd be worried about.
We haven't been able to see much of his cardio because he's been ending things quick.
Right.
So, hey, credit to him. Yeah, no, I think Herbert, he should be the one coming out of this one. Daniel Pineda, though, you never know, especially with veterans in the fight game. Veterans always have at least a bit of an advantage, especially when the fight goes into second or third round. We'll see if Herbert Burns even lets it go that long, though. And then,
Yeah.
next fight, we have Verna Jandiroba, former Invicta champion. Her first fight in the UFC, she went against the Carla Esparza, and then she lost via decision. But Carla Esparza's pretty damn good. But then she has gone. She won her next fight against Mallory Martin. Now she's fighting number 15 ranked strawweight contender Felice Herrig. What do you think about this one? 15-1 fighter. So she's good.
Yeah, I think Felice Herrig is she's good, not great. You kind of know what you're gonna get with her. I think she's one of those fighters where if she shows up and she's on, she can be pretty damn good. But if she shows up and she's off, she's a middle of the run fighter, I feel like, and doesn't really offer anything special. The one thing I'd say about her though is she's pretty big for the division. She's definitely got the physical aspects that you'd want in a fighter, in a woman fighter. So I still think I'm going to give the edge to Jandiroba. I think I'm saying that right.
Yeah.
Just because of her championship pedigree and the fact that I don't know, Felice. There's a lot of tape on Felice in the UFC, and I think she can exploit a lot of the things that a lot of the areas she has weaknesses in. I mean, she's lost to people like Cynthia Calvillo, right? She's lost to Calvillo, I want to say. I think she's lost to Paige Van Zant. So I mean, if you have a L against Paige Van Zant, that's never really a good look nowadays.
Future Bellator fighter Paige Van Zant, or even though especially she did talk to was it Bare Knuckle FC.
So, yeah, I saw that. I was very shocked about that. I mean,
don't do that. Don't do that.
No way.
No, there's no way. You've made your money. You don't need to get punched by Bare Fist. You
just do OnlyFans.
Just go to Bellator, please. Maybe
Bellator would be alright. I think she would be pretty decent in Bellator.
Yeah, she. That's more her talent level. Like, not to be rude or disparaging, but we can't pretend that the UFC isn't a step up above Bellator.
The strawweight division for sure, though. I mean, whew, there's some really good girls in there. I mean, the girl she just fought, Rebus. I think that was a flyweight fight, though, huh?
Yeah.
But she goes back and forth between both divisions as well, Rebus. So
not to get off on our Paige Van Zant.
She's a killer too.
Yeah, not to get off on our Bellator Paige Van Zant. Kind of tangent there, but Felice Herrig probably not looking too good in this one against Verna.
Yep, I definitely don't see her getting the win. But who knows? I mean, like I said, if she shows up and she, takes advantage of her length and her power, she might have a chance.
And now, next fight we want to talk about is another women's strawweight bout between Ashley Yoder and Lavina Souza, a woman that you said before start recording that if you look at her from a little bit of distance, she looks like an orc. You said.
Yeah, I might have said something like that.
Oh man,
I don't know.
We all know Blake doesn't hold back.
Fuzzy memory.
Fuzzy memory. Don't give me that. But yeah, let's break this one down. Souza, 13-2 fighter. Yoder, 7-5 fighter. So one definitely has an advantage when it comes to the record. Yoder is coming off of loss. Her last fight was October 2019, where she lost from Ronda Marcos. And obviously the record's going to kind of hurt her in terms of it yes, just looks. But what do you think about this one?
I think Yoder is a tough cookie for sure. She's been in some wars. I mean, she's fought Angela Hill. She took Mackenzie Dern to a really tough, almost controversial decision, really. I'm blanking on a few other people that she fought, but man, she's had some really good fights in the UFC and has put on some really good showings.
Beat Amanda Cooper. She had
she beat
decision loss against Angela Hill. So
yeah, I think that was her first fight
talent.
coming into the UFC too.
Yeah, that was the Tough 25 finale.
Yeah, crazy. So
right?
So she's been around. She's not the most active fighter, but she's fighting. It seems like tough people every time she's fighting. So I think Souza might just on just looking at the record and based on pedigree, it seems, and age.
Here we go. Another former Invicta strawweight champion as well, and also coming off of a loss.
I mean, is this reach that they have listed accurate? 69.5-inch reach for Ashley Yoder.
That would be something, but
5'6" compared to 5'2", 63-inch. So I mean, I guess it kind of depends how Yoder fights. Is she gonna use her length, and is she gonna keep her at range? Or
to me, it looks like she has length, but the size definitely goes to Souza. She just is a little bigger, about the same weight, but we all know that sometimes there's just because you're the same weight doesn't mean you're the same size.
Right. Definitely depends how you rehydrate too.
So
I guess we're gonna see that one. That one's kind of both of these women fights are kind of toss-ups for me.
Yeah, I would definitely give this toss-up because Yoder doesn't have the best record compared to Souza, but she has fought really good talent as well. Not a consistent fighter, I guess we could say. So this one honestly is hard to guess, but I might just have to give it to Souza, just based off of the nicknames for the Brazilian gangsta with an A.
There it is, Ross's official prediction.
I have to side with the orc. There is a bad thing.
She's gonna beat you up, bro.
Dude, probably she kicked my ass. But as long as we get on camera, we'll get the views.
This next fight, though, I'm excited for Vince Pichel. Vince
Mm-hmm.
Pichel always
Mm-hmm.
puts on, it seems like, a freaking good fight.
Yeah, whether it be against Gregor Gillespie, that was a solid one. Roosevelt
Roosevelt
Roberts,
Roberts, his
that was a
last fight
good
that he
one.
had,
Back in
man,
June of last year, good
yes.
one, good one.
Yes, that was a crazy good fight because Roosevelt Roberts is a guy that's an up and comer too.
Yeah,
He's a lanky guy, really good striker, really good grappling. So I mean, it was impressive for him to take out, kind of like a rising star.
mm-hmm.
And I
See,
mean, a guy he lost to, Gregor Gillespie,
mm-hmm.
specialist. Well, sometimes what are you going to do against a guy like that?
Right. What's nice is that both of these guys, so Jim Miller as well, back in June of this year, they both have wins over Roosevelt Roberts. With Jim gained the submission in round one, whereas Vic took him to a decision.
Right,
Mm-hmm.
right.
So, but I mean, Jim lost to Holtzman, but then he did beat Roberts this year, so he's 1-1 on the year. But going back to last year, he did have wins over Jason Gonzalez, Clay Gudea,
Guida,
Guida. Thank you. I can't
the
believe
dude,
I
the
messed that
carpenter.
one up because he's amazing. But so Jim is on a bit of a hotter streak. He's more of the active fighter. So, but both these guys have their most recent wins are over the same dude. So that's going to be very interesting to see kind of how they match up. We all know UFC math definitely doesn't always work out, but we will see. But
Yeah, I think I'm kind of leaning towards Pichel on this one just because
Michelle.
I think it's going to be a slugfest. Honestly,
Mm-hmm.
I think Pichel's going to be able to keep it on the feet.
Mm-hmm.
Miller's probably. I would think that he's going to want to take it to the ground, but I don't see him being able to take Pichel to the ground.
Mm.
I think it's going to be a slugfest, and I think Pichel's going to have a little bit more in the tank.
Now, I do like Jim Miller for legitimate reasons, but we're not here for legitimate reasons. We're going with both these guys have very good nicknames. We got Vin from Hell Pichel,
Yes.
which is I love it. I love a good play on words, that's always good. But then also, if you're Jim Miller, you just went badass Jim A10 Miller. And the A10 is definitely one of my favorite pieces of military equipment. And also, the beard does give him, we all know this, beards give you an advantage in fighting. So I have to trust my gut, Blake. I have to go with Jim Miller.
Hey, to each their own. You have every right to your opinion, however wrong it may be.
You know what, Blake, considering you have not even won the Suck My Pick title, I don't think you're in a very good position to be, talking about bad predictions here, Chief.
You literally have no idea what you're talking about. Every time that I lose, it's clearly because the judges don't know what they're smoking.
God bless you and your excuses, Blake. But that's okay. I forgive you. I really do. But also, I want to talk about there's a couple key bantamweight fights on this card. With we'll get to Sean O'Malley and Marlon Chiavera in a second. But the man that, assuming we'll get into more, but assuming Sean Sugar wins that one, he could very well be facing the winner of this bantamweight fight between John Dodson and Rob Vishilvili.
I don't even know why. I don't even know why you're trying to pronounce that.
Because Blake, I do whatever the hell I want. It's my show.
It makes no sense.
You make
just
no
look
sense.
stupid. You look stupid. You
You
sound
always
even
look
dumber.
stupid, so it's okay, Blake.
John Dodson versus Mirab. That's what we'll say.
All right, I'll work with that.
I think
12 against 15. The forehead against the buzz cut.
Well, what I can't believe is you skipped the first fight of this card. You just skipped right over Ankalev and Kudalaba.
Well, I was going to get that after this one. That is my apologies. But
That's
let's focus
awful.
on Dodson
Have
real
some
quick.
respect.
Have some respect. Don't even give me that. I was just rolling with the bantamweights, okay? I had a good kind of thing
That's
going.
crazy.
You're crazy. Let's talk
John
about this
Dodson,
one.
John Dodson and Mirab. So
Yes.
Mirab he's a crotch sniffer, as some people might like to refer to those kinds of fighters as.
Yep.
Maybe Conor McGregor comes to mind. John Dodson is like a ball of energy.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even know. He comes out there, he's got some fast freaking hands, and he can put your lights out for sure. I remember he put out TJ's lights, I think, in the Tough Finale way back in the day. That was freaking awesome to watch. But
Stuff.
a guy that's very up and down, like look at his record,
Mhm.
22-11. You
Yeah.
know, decent KDR, decent kill death ratio, but you know, you want if you're elite, you're up there in the single digits at least, bro. Probably not less than 5 losses.
Mhm.
So this is going to be a big step up in competition for sure for Mirab.
Mhm.
The last guy I think he fought, didn't he take him down like 13 or 15 times?
He
Something
had something
insane,
ridiculous, like some
like
sort of
16.
record, whatever the
It's
hell it
crazy.
was. Which
I
is,
hate watching that though. I'll be honest.
I like
Hate
watching
it.
that just because I'm in awe of how the other guy can't defend a takedown. Of course, you gotta give him credit for being able to get all those takedowns, but at the same time, if you're landing double-digit takedowns, your opponent isn't very good.
I'll give you this. So I don't mind watching that from him once.
Mhm.
Like him breaking the record, that's awesome.
But if he keeps doing
Congratulations. If he keeps doing it like 16 times, my God, can you throw some punches?
it,
Throw some. Let's look at the tail of the tape here. 68 inches. Wow, Marab has a 2-inch reach advantage.
well, it's
It
because
says.
no offense to John Dodson, but he's not the tallest fella at 5'3".
He's not very tall.
Not the tall.
It says 5'2" here on Google. That's kind of messed up.
UFC is being nice, and they gave him an extra inch, I guess.
That's he's a company man, right? 35 years old, 29, but Dodson still looks like he has it though in his last couple fights. He still looks
I
dangerous.
love how explosive he is. How he can
Yeah.
just almost. There's always a threat where Merab is going to have this constant pressure on you, whereas Dawson isn't like that. He fights in bursts of energy, but when he bursts, most of the time his opponent gets in danger.
You know what's crazy? You know who he knocked out in his last fight?
Hmm.
Nathaniel Wood.
That's right.
The guy that I think I was kind of really impressed with, I believe, the other week.
Mm-hmm.
Was that the British guy that I was super impressed
That
with?
was a couple weeks ago. The last
Yeah.
fight of
He looked
the
hella
Fight
good.
Island on UFC Fight Island 3. That was
Yeah.
that was a good one.
So-
But I'm taking Dodson in this one though. I'm feeling Dodson. I'm feeling the burst of energy is just going to be a fun kind of counterbalance to the constant pressure Merab's going to try to bring.
I don't know, man. That's a tough one. How are you saying it's going to be done, though? I'm just interested.
It's going to have to be a finish. He's going to have to get the finish.
Right? That's what I'm saying. Because I think Mirab could probably get the safer dub.
He's going to win
Just
division,
if he's-
or he's going to win on decision based on points.
Yeah, just based on the fact if he can implement his game, if he can hold him down and take him down and maybe get a little ground and pound in there, he'll probably, if he can do that 2 out of 3 rounds, he'll probably get the dub. But John Dodson, I wonder if he'll be able to withstand that and still finish him late if he doesn't finish him in the first round.
I could see it. The latest that it could go to actually have Dodson win is probably the second round. If it makes it past the second round, it's definitely going to be Merab's favor.
And I believe Mirab's in the camp with Aljamain, right? And Chris Weidman and all them. So they're super wrestle heavy.
So, yeah, they're good. Their wrestling is damn near second to none.
Yeah,
That is-
they're all very decorated collegiate wrestlers. Mirab, I'm not sure what he probably came from somewhere and did a bunch of crazy shit too.
Probably wrestled bears.
Right? Is he from Georgia? Where's he from? I
Georgia.
forget.
Yep.
Yeah,
You're right on that
so
one.
That's super sweet.
Yeah.
Yeah, that one's a tough one for me to decide on, man. I think I'm gonna go with Mirab though.
I like that.
I think I'm gonna go with Mirab.
I'm rolling with Dawson, but I think it's going to be a good fight. It should be a really interesting kind of clash of styles between the fast-paced, quick stuff and the kind of slower-paced
grind
stuff. So I am really curious about that from a stylistic matchup. Then Blake, here we go. Hear this fight: Magomed Ankalaev against Ion Kudalaba, and Russia versus a country I've never heard of, Moldova. Never heard of that country, but is what it is. I love a good light heavyweight fight. One of the most exciting kind of weights to watch because they have a really good mix of quick with heavy power. And man, this is going to be a good one, Blake.
Yes, dude, this guy is crazy. Kutsalaba. Oh man. But what's wild is, if I remember correctly, he came out and he was kind of getting pieced up by Ankalaev. The first time that they had fought.
This is a rematch.
Yeah. And so, because then right after he starts getting pieced up, he starts kind of playing possum a little bit, it looked like to me. And he was going to try and do a huge overhand or big counter. And the ref stopped it super, super quick.
It was weird.
Obviously,
It was
everyone
really
was pissed
weird.
about that. Yeah, everyone was making a big stir on Twitter.
Hmm.
Wanted to see that rematch instantly. So I'm sure Kutalaba is pumped up for this one. Like he'll definitely want to get that one back.
Yeah.
But Ankalev, he's a solid dude. Only has one loss on his record.
Hmm.
That's going to be a tough freaking night at the office for Kutalaba. He's going to have to come at it a little bit different, obviously, than he did the
Yeah.
first fight.
You could say that
So,
again. It's
so
like
it's going to be
the first one
interesting.
wasn't even like, I know this is rematch, but their first fight was hardly a fight. It was hardly a contest. Not because one got dominated, but just because it was stopped from controversial reasons. We'll leave it at that. So I am Kutalaba. You think he has to he has to come out with a fire lit under him to kind of right the wrongs, you could say.
Yeah, for sure. It's going to be as much of a thing for him to prove to himself than it is for him to prove to everyone else, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Because you can say that you were playing possum and we can say that and everyone can have their opinion, but at the end of the day, it went down as a KO/TKO in the first round in about
Mm-hmm.
40 seconds.
Mm-hmm.
So he's gonna have to control those emotions and he's gonna have to get out there and make it happen this time. I'm very curious because Kutalaba, he's a guy that I believe he knocked out Khalil Roundtree. He I think he got submitted by Teixeira or something.
Kutalaba is scary though. He's a scary
So he's
fighter.
he's 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 been around for a little bit,
Mm-hmm.
and he was talking crap to I think it was DC, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So him and DC, they're gonna be on the same. That's gonna be funny. Probably see them on embedded, maybe cross paths,
Would love it.
possibly. That would be dope. Actually, I doubt it because the Rona. Thanks
Uh,
a lot.
Shout out
Ruining
to
stuff.
Rona, ruining even UFC embedded. Oh, that's fantastic. But if we want to talk about Daniel Cormier, let's talk about this heavyweight matchup between number 5 and number 6, respectively, between kind of streaking Junior Dos Santos and coming out the first loss of his career, Rosenstruik. And whereas his first loss of his career was about a 20-second knockout, brutal knockout from the man who is just scary. Is that the best word? Terrifying. Is that how we describe Francis now? Just freaking nature.
All the above
Oh,
specimen.
freak
Just
show. Powerhouse.
yeah.
Anything that is scary or strong, you can call that.
Nightmare.
Not. Oh yeah. You can't call it the Nigerian nightmare though. Someone already
I
has
could keep
that.
going all night. Anything scary you could think of and
Pretty much.
frightening.
So this is going to be a really interesting one because obviously, Rosenstruck is going to have to right the wrongs. It was a pretty bad knockout, but it's not like he got his ass handed to him. He got hit with a really nice, like I believe it was a right hook, and then almost anyone that Francis Ngannou touches with that is going to go down. So he just got caught early. But so I'm interested to see how he bounces back from this. But also, Junior Dos Santos has been looking good recently, and he's trying to make a run at the title right now.
Yeah, no, I think this one's going to be a completely different fight because keep in mind Francis charged that man like a rhino right from the right from the beginning of the fight.
It was bad.
So I don't see Junior Dos Santos taking that same approach. I think this one's going to be a little bit more measured,
Mm-hmm.
a little bit more of a actual striking, not just race and pummeling.
Exactly.
So a little bit more strategy involved, I think, with this one rather than just brute force and raw power.
Mm-hmm.
So it's gonna be it's gonna be really really cool to see this one play out. I think Junior Dos Santos, man, he has championship pedigree.
Mm-hmm.
He is a killer, man. But he's taken some shots. Rosenstruik's an up and comer,
Mm-hmm.
a little bit younger, has an inch reach advantage.
Mm-hmm. See, I had to say when I was saying kind of streaking,
Same
Dos
size.
Santos, he was on that 3 fight. And they lost a couple, won one, lost one. But before that, he was streaking. But the problem is he's fought his last 2 fights have been against really good fighters between Francis Ngannou, who ended him a minute into the fight, and then also
Right.
Curtis Blades, who ended him a minute into round 2. So 2 high quality opponents. So those aren't necessarily bad losses to have on your record.
No, those are two guys that pretty much have only lost. Like Curtis Blades I think, has only lost to Ngannou,
Mm-hmm.
and Ngannou has only lost to the champ. So
Yep. So I mean, if we
Tells
want
you
to
all
go
you
off
need to know right there.
if we want MMA math, then
Yeah.
that's all you need to know. But Rosenstruck before that, he had wins over his 3 wins were Alan Crowder, Andrei Arlovsky, Alistair Overeem. Then he lost to Ngannou. So
That
both these guys
Overeem fight.
have
Oh my God, his lip.
so bad,
That was so nasty.
so bad. But both these guys, the point I'm trying to make is both these guys have very good pedigrees against the talent that have gone against, not just in the career, but recently in their career as well. Whether it be wins or losses, these guys have fought only contenders. And so this is going to be a really interesting one, especially based off what may happen in the main event. This could really put someone to the title picture with a good win. Besides, of course, Ngannou.
Right, he's just waiting in the wings.
Exactly. He pretty much Ngannou's pretty much carrying the interim title at this point.
I'm going with Rosenstruck on this one for sure.
I love a good bounce back, and then also, I'm taking veteran this one, Blake. I'm taking Dos Santos.
Alrighty.
But it's going to be hard. We all know there's a lot of fighters that they take that first loss of the career and they lose 1, 2, maybe a few in a row. If you want to talk about Darren Till, it took his first loss and he got beat bad again. But also he's back. But it's going to be really curious to see how Rosenstruck bounces back from his first loss, especially with how bad of a knockout it really was. So
he's got it. He'll be fine.
Taking Dos Santos, but Blake,
he will be fine.
We've been waiting long enough. We all know, if you are real listeners of the show.
Hey, wait, hold up before we do this.
Yes, before we do this.
Give us your Ankalaev versus Kutalaba pick.
Oh, Ankalaev. I thought I'd give you that. My bad. I'll go with Kutalaba.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting. I'm going Ankalaev.
I thought he was scared. I thought we did this, but whatever. No big deal. It doesn't hurt to repeat ourselves. But Blake, if you're new to the show, or if you've been a fan for a bit now, we all know that Blake, or you're about to find out that Blake is a bit of a Sugar Sean fan, to say the least. He only stalks him, is what it seems like. So Blake, without further ado, you take the reins on this one. You talk about the Sugar Show.
I don't stalk the man. Let's make that clear. That's kind of weird. But I do watch all his shit, except for his Twitch stuff, because I just don't have time for that. And it's always like middle of the day.
It's fair. You actually have a job.
I actually have a job that I get paid for, so I can't do that, unfortunately. Seems fun, though. It seems like he has a good time on there.
Oh, yeah.
So Sean O'Malley with a new hairdo. He's doing the Ecuadorian flag, I believe. It's yellow, blue, and red, which is where Marlon Cheeto Vera is from. So he's kind of doing like a little mental warfare there, you could say.
Well, it's because these guys don't like each other.
Yeah, and like we've mentioned, they were matched up to fight last year in, I think it was July, for his comeback fight after the whole. Actually, I think it was before he even got suspended. That was supposed to be his fight. So that's super interesting. Now, see, if he was fighting Marlon Vera, like when he was supposed to fight him last year, I think that might have been a bad matchup for him. I mean, just because of everything he was dealing with there. He was dealing with injuries. He was still kind of figuring out like, oh, am I going to be vegan? Am I not going to be vegan? All this crazy. Actually, that might have been a little bit down the line, but still, he was just going through a lot of things, I feel like, then. And it might not have been the perfect situation. Now, it seems like he's just really hitting his stride. He's already fought 2 times this year. He's got 2 knockouts, came back from his suspension. Everything's going perfect for him. He's saying he's completely healthy, which is like, I guess, a different thing that he's been dealing with since.
We haven't really seen the fully healthy Sean O'Malley.
Yeah, because keep in mind, Tyrion Ware fight, he kind of busted. I think he had like a busted up hip or something like that going into that. And then Sukum Toph, I believe he actually broke his foot in that one. So he's picked up some nicks and bruises on the way, along with his suspensions as well. So he's saying he's going in there healthy and hungry, and he's looking bigger than I think I've ever seen him look. He's looking thick too, you know.
Sean looks so good in terms of stature, and for a bantamweight fighter, he looks really good.
For a bantamweight fighter, that size is scary. I mean, even for a featherweight fighter, he's big. You know, I think he would probably be one of the biggest featherweights still, probably because I think he's 5'11".
Mm-hmm.
I want to say isn't Max Holloway 5'11"?
It's 5'10", 5'11".
Yeah.
And
So I mean,
then especially if he gets into puts an extra 10 pounds onto that frame too, he'd be big.
yeah. So he's got room to grow for sure. But back to the original point, I guess we were trying to make. This is going to be a huge test for Sean.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone knows that he should be getting ranked fighters just to prove where his skill level's at. But I actually am in the party that disagrees with that. I think he was kind of talking about it too on one of the shows that he was. It might have been with Brett Okamoto in an interview, but I think that like once you have him fight a guy like Cody Garbrandt, like let's say he wins this Marlon Vera fight,
There he goes. Yeah.
he goes and fights Cody Garbrandt. Then what's next? The title shot.
That's so quick, man.
It's so quick. Like we should enjoy this ride. We should have him beating people up. Like let's have him beat up Marlon Vera, see how he does, right? Co-main event, perfect. So next fight should be a main event against a guy that's another step up in competition. Whether it be like if Merab wins, I think that's still a decent fight. It's not, but it's not a main event fight, unfortunately.
But the thing,
it's so tough.
I want the UFC to take their time with this one because there's no need to rush it. Really young fighter, a lot of promise, and it's a good division. It's not like you need him fighting these big fights for a draw.
No, you don't.
You don't need that. So take your time with Sugar. Have him slowly work his way up the ranks, assuming he wins. Just have him keep working and have that Cody fight down the line when Cody Garbrandt becomes flyweight champion, and then I guess flyweight champion makes you the number one contender for the bantamweight belt. So then he's going to fight for that next. so just take your time. That fight will be there down the road. There'll be that good fight down the road.
Yeah, especially if they keep winning.
Yeah, we don't need to rush this because imagine, I'm not saying it's going to happen, but imagine if somehow Sugar loses this, they push him too quick, he loses another fight, he loses his bad. Where do we go from there? It's better just to keep the slow burn and build a man who has all the potential to be a future UFC superstar. There's no need to rush it.
He's almost at the point to where I'd say he's maybe like halfway to like Conor superstardom. Just about, give or take. And the point I'm trying to make is he's got a huge fan base already. He's got 1 million followers on Instagram.
Yeah.
You put him in a fight night main event, he's gonna do good numbers.
Well, just look at the differences between other people's post-fight press conferences and his. He always has like double, triple, quadruple the views of anyone.
Exactly. So I mean, it's not really gonna matter right now who you put against him, as long as he goes out there and he performs and he keeps winning.
And he keeps getting first-round knockouts.
This guy right now, he's Conor McGregor level almost. I'm telling you, he can get people that freaking excited. His last knockout against Eddie Wineland, I wish I recorded my reaction.
Good, man.
And I was out of my seat screaming like
Blake, we're going to have you. I'll remind you, but you're going to have to be having a camera on you this whole Sugar fight.
Yeah, I'll try and make that happen. The only bad thing is I'm gonna be on vacation this weekend, so it's gonna be tough to. It's gonna be tough. I'm still watching.
UFC correspondent Blake Campbell taking vacation. Unreal.
Hey, you gotta enjoy life every now and then. I'm still be watching the fights though. Don't you dang think I'm not.
But let's get
into
the real these. Sugar Sean very well should dispose of Chito Vera in this fight by knockout. And hell, he's been saying it. He's been saying it forever. I have no reason to disagree with Sugar Sean at this point in his career. First round knockout.
If you haven't checked it out yet, Dan Hardy, he has a series going on YouTube. It's called War Room, I believe it is. He goes in the matchups between Sean O'Malley and Marlon Vera, and then he also does Stipe and Daniel Cormier. The one on Sean and Marlon was really, really good.
Well, it's really, really good. It's a great show. Second to ours, of course. But, I want to give him some credit.
Yeah, of course. Number two, of course. But there's just another point I'm trying to make is there's so much good content right now available for these fights coming up. We got the countdown that features the co-main and the main. We got the War Room with Dan Hardy, co-main and main event.
We have everything from Uncle Chael.
We have the Embedded first episode that just came out today.
It's so fun.
I love Embedded. It's so good. And it's super cool because they're all staying at some pretty nice spots right now, it looks like. And you get to get a little inside look at what their fight week's looking like.
We all know Dana doesn't mess around. He does not skimp out when it comes to getting the good stuff.
Well, I think right now though it's a little different, right? Because it's at the Apex Center.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. They're probably doing like Airbnbs or.
Hey, the Apex Center is saucy though.
I don't know what their protocol is for Vegas, because I know
probably have them in a local hotel. I would. In
Abu Dhabi, they were on full straight up lockdown.
Well, the whole island was pretty much on lockdown.
Yeah,
which is
crazy.
Great. But Blake, I said first round knockout. Where are you going with this one?
First round knockout. Mm-hmm. First round knockout. That's crazy. It's tough not to say that because I just.
It's his track record, man. I have no reason to believe that this fight is going to make out the first round. There's no evidence pointing that way.
Like I definitely there's no question in my mind. I think Sean's going to win this fight. Mm-hmm. I don't think there's any way that I see Vera beating him unless Sean got injured or something crazy happened in the fight, you know? Cuz he's just freaking massive, man. 72 to 70.5 inch reach, a little bit of a reach advantage.
He's a big fighter.
I think Google's off right now because it's saying his height's 5'9". There's no way he's 5'9".
He's 5'11". Just trust the UFC website. Never trust Google.
Trash. Dude, Vera's younger than I thought, though. He's only 27 years old.
Mm-hmm.
I think Sean O'Malley's going to knock him out second round. I feel like Vera's never been finished in his career, so it's going to take a little bit. Mm-hmm. I think first round, it'll be a feeling out process. He'll definitely start to piece him up, and then second round, he'll have what he wants, and it'll be calculated, and it'll be viral. It'll be a viral knockout.
Again, in like his third viral knockout in a row. I am all for that, Blake. But here we go. The main event of the evening, something I alluded to earlier, arguably the most important heavyweight fight in UFC history. The winner of this fight is probably going to be known as the all-time greatest heavyweight mixed martial artist ever. So, I'm so happy. This trilogy, I've been waiting for this trilogy for a while. We were waiting for the second.
Are you a
fight
Stipe fan or are you a? Can't remember. You're a Stipe fan, right?
Dude, I'm a huge Stipe fan.
Okay, I thought so.
Yeah, because we all know I respect him. I respect the hell out of him as a person. How UFC, he's
firefighter.
He's a firefighter first, in UFC fighter second. Yeah. I love him, and also he's just a funny guy as well. Given the times you can't understand him, he's pretty funny. But the first fight,
it's a challenge sometimes. It's a challenge.
I've never needed subtitles so bad for an English speaker.
But you know what? The embedded episode kind of made something a little clearer. You know, he was talking about how his old setup, I guess, in his old garage, he'd be like training with his friends or his partners, you know, and they'd be doing some ground and pound drills or something. His mom walks in, literally eats a punch to the dome and like smashes off. They don't have padding on the ground, I guess, at this point, because he's probably not, you know, that far in his career yet. Literally hitting his head off the cement, you know, and then his mom's laughing. He's like, "Oh, Mom." Like that's probably why you talk like that, you know.
Probably had something to do with it. But let's quick recap the first fight. Stipe was this going for his sixth title defense when he?
No, it was fourth. I want to say, right? Because I think he was the first to get 3.
Yeah, but his fourth title defense and fourth or fifth. Fighting DC moving up a weight class. The first round finish is shocking everyone. They were just breaking away from a clinch. Stipe had his chin out. DC caught him with the elbow, finished him on the ground. So then we wait a whole year or whatever because DC took long enough over there just eating Popeyes and cake the whole damn time. But we finally get the fight, and there's on the card where Diaz made his return too. This was a fun one, kind of last summer. And then we see probably in my opinion, one of the most satisfying finishes to a fight I've ever seen. We had Daniel Cormier working Stipe the first 3 rounds, but then we get to the fourth. Stipe starts working that body. Then he lands that really hard uppercut to the gut, you know? Stuns the hell out of him, gets him against the cage, finishes him against the cage. Amazing. Then he hits his little dance in the middle of the octagon. Little Shevchenko style. Knockout.
That was a brutal, both of them were brutal knockouts. Yes. Really. They were both. That's what makes I think this trilogy so exciting. Is they both had just brutal finishes of each other. Like they've both gotten theirs, right?
Yes.
And now this is the one where
The real rubber
rest of your
band.
life, for the rest of your life, this is gonna be you can endlessly shit talk.
This is legacy.
And not to mention, like you said, this is going to be the greatest of all time, probably.
Yes.
At least for the now and the near future.
Yes.
Until someone gets 4 defenses, probably.
Francis Ngannou.
Or it becomes, I guess, 2-time. Has anyone else been 2-time heavyweight champion yet?
I don't believe so.
I don't know off the top of my head.
Not recently, at least. Not recently.
Yeah.
But this person is going to be the GOAT for a good while.
Like
Until
Verdum would be the only guy that I would say maybe that could possibly be the case.
But man, I'm
anyway,
just so excited about this fight because there's so much on the line.
They both look so good right now too. Have you seen them?
Great. They look.
Stipe looks insanely good right now.
And Daniel Cormier is actually losing some weight too.
Yeah, right.
He's been staying out the Popeye, so he might actually weigh in around 245, maybe.
He said his target is 242, I think.
That's
earlier today.
Listen to what he said. What like Chael Sonnen said. Dude, that's a solid weight for him. Stipe is probably gonna be around his typical 235, 240 weight. And man, dude, we all know Stipe has the advantage, but how much of an advantage is this 25-foot octagon going to give Daniel Cormier when it comes to wrestling?
That is huge, man.
Is it as big as people are making it out to seem?
I don't think people understand. That is big time. That's going to make a big difference in this fight. It just shrinks the amount of space that Stipe is going to have to work with. So that's just going to be more. It's just going to make it a little bit easier for Daniel Cormier to get back to his roots and grind Stipe. Use his wrestling, his Olympic level, silver or bronze medal level wrestling. I believe it was bronze. Can't remember off the top of my head.
Like one of the World Games,
he was with
Pan American Games.
He was with Ben Askren, I think.
Yeah, they had the little interview earlier today with Ben just telling Daniel Cormier pretty much to wrestle.
Yeah.
Steve.
Yeah. I mean, it's a smart decision. Yeah, it's a smart strategy.
Because he had the wrestling in their second fight. He was beating him with the wrestling, and he went away from it for whatever reason.
Well, the thing is, excuse me, he does have really, really good success against Stipe on the feet. I think he still has the quickness advantage in this fight, which is wild to think about because he's going to be the guy that's probably a little bit heavier coming in, but he does seem like a little bit more athletically gifted than Stipe. I'm not saying that Stipe is not an incredible athlete in his own right,
of course,
but DC just seems like he's a little bit more explosive, even at his age, and just a little bit quicker. So, and he's coming in, he's going to be on good weight. It's going to be tough to beat DC, man. He's a freaking
retirement fight too.
He is, everything.
Unless he's fighting John Jones again for a lot of money.
Unless anyone's fighting. Oh, really? Did you say that?
Yeah. They said unless they're getting a good paycheck to fight John Jones, this is his last fight.
I would think that he would be done with that fight, though. It's already happened.
I would hope that he just sticks with this being his last fight, win or lose.
Yeah,
because Daniel Cormier, a phenomenal career. You cannot take that. He was
if he wins, he better quit. Because then no one can top that in UFC in MMA. I don't think.
And honestly, I've been thinking that even if Stipe wins, I think he retires after this. We don't want because he's been.
So everyone's been saying
he's been having eye injuries. Shout out to DC for eye gouging the hell out of him, especially.
Well, think about how much bank he'd make off this fight. He's definitely
gonna be making money, but also you don't want to
ride off in the sunset.
You don't want to get into Michael Bisping, territory either by having permanent eye damage and need to and Bisping really only have one real eye too.
Well, and it's like it seems like Stipe is already set up with what he wants to have. He's got his daughter, he's got his house. I'm sure his house is probably close to fully paid off, if not fully paid off already. If he
wins this fight, it's all about, for either fighter, what do they have left to prove?
He has a steady job as a firefighter, So, I mean, if he wins this fight, shoot.
They just don't
call it a day.
They just don't have anything to prove at the end of the day.
But that's why they got to make this fight the best fight ever and beat the hell out of each other.
I really believe that each fighter, they look like they're taking this fight as the most seriously they've ever taken a fight in their career. And this fight, it's going to be so, Blake, I honestly cannot wait for Saturday. This week is going to go by so slow. So slow.
I'm just ready for Thursday, man. Then I get to be off work and be at the beach.
Ooh, where's the beach at though? Which beach?
Dillon Beach, Marin
Ooh,
County. If you're
that's
not
a good
familiar, it's by
one.
Petaluma, Bodega
Little
Bay.
Cali stuff. But man, all I can say is let's see, brass tacks, Blake. Predictions. I am taking Stipe Miocic via decision.
Man, this one is so freaking tough.
It's so hard to tell, but I just had to put it out there. I just have to say it. Just had to say it.
This one is so freaking tough, dude.
Mm-hmm.
Like it actually hurts my head to pick this one because I'm like dead even on this one.
You
But
just
I
have
think
to.
I'm.
You just have to
I think
do
I'm
something.
gonna. I think I'm just gonna go with the theme of this whole card, pretty much, basically, besides Sugar Sean, and pick the exact opposite of you because I hate you. You're a Bronco fan.
Oh, come on, man.
So yeah, I'm gonna go with Daniel Cormier.
Oh,
And the way that he wins, I mean, doesn't really matter, but I'm saying for my prediction because it's going to be right regardless. But I'd probably go with the decision for Cormier too.
let's see.
I don't
We
know.
we
It's
have the
gonna.
knockout from either fighter, and
I
now
feel like it's gonna be tough for them both to finish each other. You know,
mm-hmm.
now
Especially with
because they've already finished each other, so I feel like they're both gonna be very cognizant
exactly. Well,
of
what's
what
hard,
it was that led to the finish of
it's
the
kind
first
of hard
fights.
to tell in trilogy fights where either fighter has a knockout because either they're just one of them is just going to get that knockout again because it worked, or you can go the different kind of thought process where it's going to go to a decision because both of them know how to prevent the knockout, presumably. So man, all I can say, dude, is that Saturday just needs to come
Solid.
here, please,
Solid
Saturday.
main card. Solid main card.
Co-main and main alone.
I mean, really, I'm
the whole
pretty
main
I'm
card
pretty
is
satisfied with the whole main card.
I like
as long
the
as no
prelims, too.
controversy.
I like
as
the
long as
prelims,
no fights get stopped early. As long as none of the fighters come out and look just trash.
Right.
It should be a pretty freaking good card.
See, Blake, and people who've been listening, I love you all who have been listening, but they've heard me say this and you say this for about the last 2 months now. But Blake, I'm going to keep saying it until it's an inaccurate statement. It's a great time to be a fan of the UFC.
I just want to remind everyone until Christmas, every single weekend, there will be people punching each other in the face for the UFC.
What other sport will do this? We're not getting college football, probably.
Wild.
But we still have the UFC, Blake. Uncle Dana, God bless you. Once again, the best president in all of sports. But ladies and gentlemen, that's going to wrap us for our UFC 252 preview. Just wait for next week until we bring you our UFC 252 recap show once Blake gets his butt off of vacation and gets back to work, back to the grind. And then, like I said, we got merch. We had a very nice episode just drop on Monday. I was interviewing with the head coach of the USAFL team, the Des Moines Roosters, which is very fun. AFL, y'all should watch it because it's fun as hell. Just check that out. Blake, thank you so much for giving us your expertise today. Thank you for sharing to the world just how much of a UFC genius you really are.
That's what I try to do every day. Just live my best life.
That's what I pay you for. It's what I pay you for, dude.
Be better than you in predictions.
That's happened once. So we'll see what happens.
Once out of 2 times.
And what's that? 3 actually. I won the inaugural Suck My Pick title at UFC 249, defended it at UFC 250, and now Jalen took it from me at UFC 251. But UFC 252, I'm coming back for my title. Jalen, I am coming for you. Blake, you're going to stay at the bottom and still not win this.
You're trash.
It's going to be a
You're
great
a Bronco fan, and you're ugly.
Have a great night, ladies, or day, whatever the hell time you're listening to this. Just have a good one, ladies and gentlemen. We'll catch you in the recap show.